Hello everybody, welcome back to this weekend video review part 2. I'm Giuseppe Basile, also known as the FibStalker, and in this video we're going to review all the miners and the other markets as well. Today's February 25th, 2018. It's 36 minutes past 10 p.m. EST time in Toronto, and this video is part of the FibStalker Analysis and Trading service. As usual, I ask you to read and accept the webinar. If you're watching the recording, please stop your recording here. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and trading Forex carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Please read all of it. This is the usual disclaimer. Thanks for doing that, and let's continue here with the main and other main markets here. I will start from the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar that has actually been moving when we look at the weekly here between the resistance at 99.63 and the support at 97.93. So that resistance has been tested last week, and this market also attempted to hold and trade longs here from the lows to highs, and that has barely pierced there. Now this market on the monthly shows also support at the 96.59. so second tests are dangerous tests. You're gonna see this case would be a third test this week. Gonna see what happens when the 99.63 is tested again. If that test is successful, this market is going to move again down onto the 97.93. Okay, Euro Australian dollar. This market has shows a bullish participation here and the possibility to retest that 163 80 163 10 area there, and that's what it seems we are moving to now. In the last 2 weeks we have held that 126.26 that we were able to identify in its first test back at the beginning of February here, and this level has been tested 3 times now, 1, 2 and 3, and this week it could be tested another time. So again, when we let these levels that are tested multiple times hold, the market moves to the upper bound, and that could be an opportunity for a quick trade. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. This market has targets below, and particularly we are watching the 81.81, which is the 50% that traded before the market went into that 90.74 and then sold. So the 50% here in this range might not hold. We could get a reaction from that level, and let's see where this market is compared to the level. It has not tested that yet. If he comes there, we could see a bounce, but eventually I believe this market is going to trade 81.81. On the daily we are seeing renewed weakness here, and that could bring price into the second target of this measure move that we have here at the 85.23. all right, the Euro Australian dollar, similar situation here as we saw for the Euro Australian dollar. We already reviewed this, and so we move to the Euro Pound. So Euro Pound, we know the story here. This market has been moving laterally with a downward bias on top of this 88.03, and it keeps moving down into this area and then up again and down and up again until this area is going to break. At that point we should see a sizable move here, and the first target, as we know now since a few months, it's 86.16. On the daily here we've seen 50% trade, and targets are below, but we need to look at any reaction in this area, because be very careful here. The 88.62 has traded last week on Thursday, and the first target is very close, so that could be hit, and even this market could even continue into the second target. If that level is hit and the market comes back, Then the next measured move we want to watch is the whatever low is printed below the first target, and 88.20 could come into play. Okay, so keep that in mind. The euro, Canadian dollar, it's continuing higher. It has finally hit those level, the 55, 56, 55.80 to 56 levels that we mentioned now. We're mentioning now since a few months, and now there is a new breed of there could be a new breed of trades here being generated, and I'm gonna watch initially two levels. The first one is gonna be the low to highs, the next 50% move in this inner weekly measure move here, and the closer level, if we get a shallow retrace here, that would be our 154.10. So 154.10 if it's a shallow retrace here, and 152.48 if we get the full 50%. Okay, so we're seeing weakness here. This market could bounce higher and then continue, so always watch the 50% short. That's something that could come into play here. If it does, these 50% are always good opportunity for continuation lower. Okay, so as you can see, the trend has broken here, so this could come, the 50% here could come into play. The Euro Japanese yen is responding to an area here which was a previous this is trace from highs to lows. It's the full range here, but that was broken before, and so this response has been very, very strong though, and we are seeing a continuation of the move lower here. Okay, and the extension, the weekly extension short from lows to lows here, this has let's see, this has not come into play, but has traded afterwards. So this market is not moving in a very technical way here, but we can always look at 50% extension short in case the market comes back, and extensions from lows 136.64 to the new lows here. This area is seems to be posing here real resistance, although not cleanly from the 50% level, but the market has pierced into this area, but still we are seeing participation on the downside. Euro, New Zealand dollar, this market has traded the 50% and has traded the 50% within that move again on Thursday, so we need to take notice when these kind of things happen. And so the larger weekly move as a target, first target 162.89. The smaller daily move, inner daily move, as target at 166.40. Okay, so there are two time frames here pushing lower, and when we look at the monthly time frame here, we also see a range market. So there is a case for a continuation lower, and we mentioned on the weekly also the halfway back. If that halfway back comes into play, it could actually offer a support temporarily, but as it happened in the past, then this market could continue lower as well. Okay, so there's a good case for a continuation lower in this market, which means that the New Zealand dollar could be prospectively be stronger than the euro dollar. The pound versus Australian dollar, this market has this wall move higher has failed, and what we are looking at here in this move here, it's a previous measure move that is now holding, has held for a couple of weeks here, and still we need to see whether this market is going to continue higher here right away. The full measure move has failed, and this market has been rejected on Thursday here. If this rejection continues, we could see the 176.03 being tested again. The New Zealand dollar, pound New Zealand dollar here, similar situation, market moving laterally on top of 187.14. The 50% long has not held, as you can see. 2 weeks ago and last week the 189.35 has failed, and we need to see whether opposing shorts here are trading from highs to lows. And as you can see, the 191 level has been held on Friday and it's been retested today, so this could actually push price lower because now we have a daily short that is in play and long have failed at the 189.35. So this is a case for a retest of 187.14, which should be the target for this move at the moment. Pound versus Canadian dollar keeps pushing higher. On top of that, extension long 173.18. This extension long has targets above. We have mentioned the 177.86, the high one 177.56. So that level was not tested yet. We could get there this week. The previous highs have been rejected on the daily. We'll see whether this market can continue higher and continue that move into the 183.45 level that it's looming there on the monthly. The pound versus Japanese yen has also had that strong move a few weeks back, and all this move higher and the crawling that we saw in this market has been basically in 1 month this market has obliterated almost 3 months of moves higher. So this move here seems to be continuing here, and also at the open of today we saw weakness, and last week we also made a case for a 50% short here, and when we trace this level correctly, that test could be there in this market, and that is what is pushing, could be pushing this price lower here. The move higher, we had this 50%, the first target being hit, and on the monthly we see the next 50%, which is still a little bit below here. So that could be there is room for this market to move into 146 level, and the move seems to be started again this week. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar has failed shorts here, which is an indication of strength. You remember that highs to lows here has failed, and this market is continuing higher. We have traced the extension highs to highs here, which brought price into that first target. The inner move came into play, highs to the new highs here, and that has pushed price into the second target of the outer move, and the first target of the inner move. The next measured move, though, it's in play here. Okay, so the market has tested that level on and this is the daily on Friday. So it opened higher and it's continuing the move higher. So very technical market. Broke the bears, the back of the bears here, and it's continuing trading in extensions after after the first extension here on the daily that we saw on the daily, has traded the 91.90, this area here, and now we have targets above. Very technical market, 94.25 and 95.47. Let's move to the Australian dollar Swiss franc here, and this market on the monthly has the 71.80 that has been holding here, and the first time the market was not able to print higher highs, and it's coming back to retest that level. Before doing that, this market might react, and that's what we are seeing here. seeing a potential reaction. In reality, this market has been range bound, and when we open the daily here, we see that the lows to lows have been holding here for once and twice. This could be retested this week. This is an important level to watch. If that level holds again, this market could roll over once again and continue lower into that 71.80, which is the target for any shorts in this market. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, it's also weak, as traded the 87.56 monthly short here, respected in the past, end of 2017 and 16, sorry, and then again twice in 17. The level we're looking for, it's 81.34. This market has strongly moved lower in the last few weeks and is continuing that move lower. If we get any reaction, a trade, a strong reaction might bring this price, much higher here into 85.24, but that would be an opportunity for a continuation lower. Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, this market came to trade at 50%. We saw a reaction there. That reaction is still continuing. That 50% lined up also with the first target of this move, of this traditional measure move. So if this market reacts higher, we are going to look at the highs to lows here. Sorry, I'm going to trace them correctly from the high to the swing low that we see at the moment, high to low. And however, this move here, it's very much extended, as we can see. Very little measure moves there, and so we're going to consider another bull anchor as well, lows to lows, in case this the reaction higher continues here. Okay, this is a range, and so the market can go to the bottom of the range, and that's what we are seeing there. Canadian Swiss franc, similar situation here, came to trade the partial range long from the lows in at the beginning of 2016 here to the high 79.60, and is now reacting on top of this level, and it could actually put on a reaction here. When we look at this weekly move lower, it's also very extended, so good push here could bring price into this 75.38, and that for me would be an initial test for shorts, maybe again into the 73.79. Euro, Swiss franc, we are seeing that strength in the Swiss franc all over the board here. For this market, we were looking to see whether this gap of the Central Swiss Bank joke here would be closed. That was not the case. This market started moving strongly lower here, and the weekly extension long lows to lows came into play as well 2 weeks ago, as you remember, and this is what is pushing this price lower. Okay, this is what we see here. It's a lateral move with a bearish bias. Why? Because there was participation from this level here on the weekly time frame. We see this on the daily as well, and this market has been moving laterally very slowly here for a few sessions. And now what could happen is that either this market breaks down or goes and retests this 1578, and if it holds, that would be a great new opportunity for shorts. Pound versus Swiss franc. This market, when we look at the monthly here, has been pushed lower, and on strength of the Swiss franc on this market. So here we have a continuation 50%, 131.40, and then we had also a measure move here, the 50% from highs to the relative lows here, that has been basically tested, and the next measure move The next measure move has failed, but we don't have any relevant levels below here. So we're seeing 50% long here, and kind of hold, barely holding here, and we will see whether that's capable of bringing price higher into the 50% short here. I still see a short in this market, and we saw this strong move lower. The market could also stop below before there is this extended move lower, and let's see if the extension short has traded already. It has not traded yet, so there is still some room for this market to move higher for maybe for a couple of sessions here, and then we will see whether those levels will come into play. All right, the New Zealand dollar Swiss franc has traded a 50% short here from highs to and that's a level that came into play again from highs to previous lows that was broken here, even after hitting that first target. The reason for this behavior is that this market is anyways in a range. So now we need to understand whether that move higher is starting this week into the upper part of the range, upper bound of the range. As you can see here, 68.19 has traded, and this has the potential to push price higher into the the 50% short at least, and we will see then what was going to happen from there. But as you can see here, 68.19, we have to keep an eye always on this 50%. It's actually in play. New Zealand dollar Japanese yen, on the other hand, is continuing lower here. On the monthly, we have highs to lows that has held and has been retested recently last month on January 81.64. That's pushing, that's what's pushing this price lower. Okay, so the move here is still way to go. The 50% long would be from lows to highs, and as you can see, the level has been tested twice, could be tested again, 76.41. Okay, so next opportunity for a short in this market could actually help this price into that 76.41. And when we look at the daily here, the levels that are in play are are here. I mean, the anchor that we need to use are already here, and they've traded already. The 79.11, which has targets below into the 76.96, and that would actually help price into that 76.41. Okay, so we just need to understand here now if this market is going to offer another opportunity this week, maybe a 50% highs to lows, and that would be a great opportunity to try to bring price into that 74.41. Okay, sorry, 76.41. All right, so this is it for this video, weekly video review here. Hope you find this useful and interesting. Certainly there are many opportunities there, and we're going to focus on with the intraday reviews on these markets to uncover these opportunities. Okay, thank you very much and have a great week. I'll see you in the room. Bye bye now.